Sauce.
Hey, you like Pez?
It looks like that. Here's Heaney from the boundary line. He's an expert at these. From the boundary line!
Hello and welcome to Behind the Boundary podcast. I'm your host Pez and I'm here with Sauce. We are here for the Cheeky Punt Show, Sauce, where we put our money where our mouth is, try and make some cash each round, and that's what we do here.
Hey Pez, most podcasts that focus on betting, they've already gone after round one. They're not even talking about their round one results because there were a couple of big upsets that would have cost some people some nice pretty pennies. And here at Behind the Bound, the Cheeky Punt pod show that we love to do, we hold ourselves accountable, and let's get things straight into it, Pez, where we go through our bets and our successes and our losses from last week.
Soft review. It's no official review. How does it end? We don't know. They've kind of lost, but they've won as well.
Yeah, well, makes me think of gambling Twitter, and you look at gambling Twitter, not too many people actually got up on the weekend, Source, from round one. So let's have a look. We'll look into the first game, Richmond versus Carlton. We already had the tick for this when we recorded our Cheeky Punch show last week, because I had Richmond 1-39 at 2.10, so I had 20 on that, return 42, won by 25, nice and easy.
Yeah, very nice and easy, that one. I had the over for this game, and as I predicted, Pez, I was on the over for many of the games, and it was the only one that got up for the weekend. So I had over 165.5, and the Tigers got that done pretty easy at a 188, 25 on that.
They did, and you were pretty confident on
pretty happy.
The pod last week, and
yep.
Your lines, your read was off.
My read was, well, do you know what? The scoring shots were very on. Do you know what I leaded to? The short preseason, so the kicking and efficiency was terrible, but yeah, it was a bit disappointing for me.
Oh, well, next one, we go on to Friday night, Collingwood versus the Bulldogs. I backed the Western Bulldogs, minus 3.5 here, had the max 50 on them, which was good, so 48.90, flying at the start of the round. Yeah,
looking up two green ticks, that's what you like to see, Pez, and that's the bet I should have gone with, because I spoke about how much I love that bet. I spoke about how confident I was in the Dogs. And you know what? I talked myself into this mysterious overs, and it was not to be. It was 165.5 the line, not to be. It definitely played the unders, so a loss of 25.
Yeah, no good there. Melbourne, Fremantle next, Source. I had no bet in this.
And I was silly again. Yeah, guess what I went in this one? I went the over.
Melbourne couldn't even kick the ball in the midfield. How are they going to kick goals?
But again, they had 27 scoring shots a piece at some stages of the game, and they could have easily hit the overs, but not to be. Another loss of 25.
So what happens when you go the over-unders, eh?
I'm staying away from it.
That's no good. The next game on the day was Adelaide versus Geelong. Massive upset there. I steered clear of this one.
Yeah, I went my cheeky in this one, minus 58.5 at $5, and geez, did we get this wrong? But I can't. Anyone that tells me that they bet on Adelaide to win that game and by that in that manner,
they're not going to be winning punter.
They're not going to be winning many games. I couldn't imagine.
Not at all. Next game was Essendon versus Hawthorn. Boring old Pez, no bet again.
Yep, that's the trend for Pez. Normally it's on these Sunday games that he has no bet. I went no bet with this one, and lucky for that because I was high on Essendon and they were very disappointing in that second half.
You see, I probably would have been tempted because it was a pick'em. You could have gone Hawthorn head to head. I might have been tempted at Hawthorn minus 2.5 and would have lost that one as well. So I had to stay away from that game because I didn't even put a same game multi on it or anything during the round. We move on to the other game of Saturday night, the other massive upset, which was Brisbane Lions versus Sydney Swans. I had a 3-leg same game multi. I had Brisbane minus 11.5 at half time, minus 24.5 at full time, and to be the quarter time leader. So they led at quarter time, Source. They actually kicked the first 3 goals.
Yeah, they look good.
And then Sydney kicked the next 7. Brisbane a draw at halftime. Killed my bet there. Max stake of 50 gone down the drain.
Oh, that hurts. That hurts when you lose the max. I should have backed what I was talking about in the pod. I was a little bit worried about Sydney coming out, and I was high on them in the preseason. And I wasn't sure if they could do that line, Brisbane. And you know what? I definitely backed myself in my intuition, and I had no bet in that game. So disappointing for me. I'm not going to talk about would have, could have, should have. No bet for me.
Well, that's what I'll talk about on Sunday. North versus Port. I had no bet, but actually would have been most confident with Port minus what you could get.
Minus 30.5. That's what I had.
31.5. Yeah, great bet there, Source. I had no bet there.
Yeah, well, that's what I had. So that was a nice little profit. I'll take 25 on that, 47.50 for my second win for the round. So off to a flyer for Source.
Well, that's it. The next game was a good and in the wet. Giants versus St Kilda. Now, I didn't know it was going to be a game like that, which is why I had my little cheeky multi there with Dan Butler to score 2 or more goals, which didn't end up happening. He kicked that 1 goal at the end. He was involved a little bit, but it was so hard for forwards to kick multiples in that game, in those conditions, with a little bit lower scoring than it usually would have been in the dry as well. So lost the cheeky there.
Yeah, I steer clear with this one. I did say that the weather was going to be... I was at this game or one of the other games, but I was a little bit worried about how this was going to play out. But lucky for me, because I was on the Giants if I had to lean one way, and I probably would have gone with the line. So it would have been another loss for me. So I'm glad I stayed away from that one.
Yeah, very jealous of this last one, Sauce, because this is one of the lines that we both spoke about that we loved the line.
Very lucky.
You got plus 27.5.
Yep.
I had no bet in this one on the podcast, and you had the plus 27.5. Cripps had a shot from 45
Thank
out
God.
to actually, take your line away and make that a losing bet.
Yeah,
but he
and
hit the post, and that's a good thing.
It would have been really disappointing to lose that line after Gold Coast had been so competitive during that
Led
game.
at 3/4 time.
Yep.
And nearly gave up a 5-goal loss.
Yeah, most definitely. It was good for us to... Good for us to get a win. Oh, sorry, you didn't bet on that one. So good for me to get a win because that
Exactly
was a rarity.
right.
And then we talk about our multi, which I just spoke about multi before, Pez. My multi looking for this game coming into this week. It's a tough round of footy, but last week I said it was going to be a pretty Mickey Mouse sort of one. The Doggies, the Cats, Lions, and Port, and the two of the biggest lines out there last week couldn't get the job done, so we walk away with another loss.
No, around the 22.5, 24.5 for the Cats and the Lions last week, and no good. And they're the two I lost in my multi because I was a $4.30 chance. I had the Tigers, the Power that won, the Bulldogs line that we loved, minus 3.5, and then Geelong and Lions just let us down. But round one can never be that easy. There can never be, it's rare to get 9 tips.
Very rare. How many did you tip?
7 out of 9.
That's not bad. I had 6. I missed the GWS game.
Yep, and that's.
I missed the Essendon game.
Missed the Essendon game.
I missed the Essendon game. Yeah.
Oh, you tipped the Saints.
I did.
After just talking all that on the pod, you changed to the Saints. I don't like that Sauce. No good. Well, there's our recap anyway. We look at our Twitter at Behind the Bound because the Cheeky Punt Pod is exclusive to Twitter. The season ROI takes a bit of a hit, Sauce. I'm at minus 9.9% with a $15 loss there.
It's not that impressive. You just come out and win all the time, Pez. I love a challenge, but not too much of a challenge. So I staked 145, returned 142, an ROI of minus 2.06. And Pez, like usual, take the early lead in the betting.
I would not call that a lead with the minus. I knew you'd try and come out of that.
Sorry,
if we both lose on the pod, Sauce, that is not a win.
Who lost more money?
That is not a win.
Who lost more money?
It is not a win.
Who lost more money?
If you lose on the pod, you're minus in the ROI.
Who returned more money?
You can't claim. If that's the end of the season and we both losers, we're just both losers. No one wins.
I beat you then. Don't call that crap. I beat you.
You won't beat me by the end of the season. You know that for sure.
Please.
This is why the banner is real on this. And we've got round 2 coming up, Sauce, and we've got a bet slip ready for that. So let's get into it.
The fact that the size of the bets was relatively small.
Now Betts with an opportunity about 50 metres out.
I was with a mate and we were getting sort of ready to leave, and he said, I think I'm going to whack 10 on Maxi. Do you want some as well? And I said,
Oh, yes! Yes! Yes!
That's what I'm going to be doing at the end of the year, Pez. Yes, celebrating.
The old Bruce.
Let's get into some of the specials for the round, not just Sauce's tips for the round. Let's get into some of the sport betting specials.
Cyril takes a special and goes bang.
Now, you weren't happy with me last week.
I
just
wasn't.
sent
It was
everyone to
lazy.
Twitter.
It
And I
was
want to
lazy.
send everyone to Twitter again because that's where I've got it, at Behind the
Lazy.
Bound. What we do have, I will speak about just a couple of things. Same game multis. You'd think Sportsbet would have it. They don't have it at the moment. It's Tab who've got it for all games, three plus legs. If one fails, bonus bet back up to 50. And Neds have that as well. Sportsbet have kick a goal in the first 2 minutes you win on head-to-head bets. I don't love it. I would bet it. If I'm going to bet head-to-head anyway, I would do it with Sportsbet just for that 2-minute insurance, just in case that team does kick a goal and you get paid out early. But that's about it.
Yeah, you know what the one I love that I miss is the lead at any quarter.
Oh, that was
Need to bring
grouse.
that back. That was the best.
I wonder why they didn't bring that back because they would have lost a lot of money.
Yeah, one of the other specials that I might mention, Pez, because I did a little bit of research this week and did your job. I was not being lazy, and I actually thought I used this in one of my tips, but it's only applicable to the Thursday night and Friday night games. Tab have a special that if your team wins by 12 or more, double your winnings. So I thought that was applied to all games, and I placed a bet and...
That's
need
a
to look at the terms
lesson
and
that we
conditions.
always tell. You've got to look at what it is.
Yes.
Okay, you've got the little thing there. I can see it here because I've got it on our thing posted for Twitter at Behind the Bound. Thursday and Friday night game source. Misstep by you.
Misstep by me, most definitely. A mistake on my behalf, then Pez. Do you know what? It's okay because it's going to be a win, so I'm going to take the profit. I'm going to take the profit.
I love it.
All right, let's get into the first game of the round. Carlton versus Collingwood. Head-to-head, it's basically a pick-em here. The line is at 1.5. Slight favourites to the Collingwood Magpies, which I find a little bit surprising. $1.85 for them, $1.98 for the outsiders. Carlton, the over is 163.5. And Pez, I'm going to steer clear of this, but I thought it's nice to mention.
Oh, so you steer clear. You're jumping in first there. I'm not steering clear.
I just meant the over-unders.
I've found a market that I enjoy, but I've got a little bit of a bake to give to Sportsbet.
A little bit of an enjoyment.
Because I really don't like their odds at the moment for goal kickers and for disposals. It's absolutely disgusting. Some goal kickers are $1.08, $1.14, $1.14. It's I miss the old days where they didn't have that margin on them. So you've probably got to go elsewhere if you're looking for goal kickers and things like that. Try Tab, try Neds. And
Tab's got a nice little setup too, the way that they are. If you're looking at the webpage, they've got the nice little 3 goals, 4 goals, 5 goals, and you can actually have a look at the multiple prices across.
And what they're worth.
Visually very nice.
Very
Aesthetically
appealing.
pleasing.
Well, Sportsbet's not appealing when I put down all the players and I see he's $1.02 to kick a goal, $1.08, $1.10, $1.11. It's ridiculous. Not that many players are going to kick a goal. Anyway, what I've found is I've gone to margin markets to try and find some value. I didn't like the line in this game. I do think it's going to be a close game. So I've gone, the old try bet, which is usually 15.5. Mm-hmm. I've gone the try bet, but with the 24.5 margin. So the try bet 24.5. I've gone for the middle. Either team by 24 or less. So if Carlton win by 24 or less, I win. Collingwood win by 24 or less, I win. That's $1.72. I've whacked 20 on it.
Oh, $1.72 is good odds for either team to under a 4-goal win. I don't mind that, Pez. I think it is going to be a close game, but I do think that... actually, no, you know what? I don't think it's going to be a close game. I think Carlton's going to get it done pretty easy there, so that bet's shit out.
Loser.
That's an absolute loser. I've gone head-to-head with Carlton. I picked him up earlier in the week when I saw the return of Zach Williams and Jack Martin on the cards. $2 odds for Carlton to win, stake of 25.
There you go. You still can get them at plus 1.5 at the moment as we sit here on a Wednesday night. The next game source, we've got the Cats versus the Lions down at GMHBA. What have you got in this one?
Well, the line for this one is 8.5 favourite in the Cats, $1.63. Surprise favourites in my sort of book. I thought it would have been a closer sort of $1.98, $1.89 pick 'em like the last game. Brisbane outsiders at $2.29, a very high over after some disappointing performances from both teams last week, 171.5. In this game, Pez, it's my Cats. You know I don't like betting on my Cats, but I do like to be a little bit
cheeky.
Of course, could see that coming.
Well, just like I can't see you betting on a Sunday. Like, geez, Pez, we've got to have some sort of predictability outside of me winning all the time. All right, so in this one, I've gone a 4-leg same-game multi with Tab, and just like Pez has mentioned in the specials, that if one leg fails, I get my money back in a bonus bet. Pez, I like this bet with a little bit of science. I told you I've done a little bit of science, a little bit of analyst.
Oh, here we go.
So what I've gone for is
like last week's over.
Just like last one. So I've started things off with the over, with over 175.5. That game down at GMHBA Stadium is going to have an immense amount of goals. Both teams have the potential to put on big scores. Were disappointing last week, and I think that they'll try and fix that. I've also gone with Tommy Stewart. He'll get the call up tomorrow. Once the side is finally announced, he'll be in that side. With Dangerfield out, Duncan out, and Menegola out, there are a lot of possessions to be had for Geelong. I think the two players that are going to do it is, as I said, Tommy Stewart, my man, and Brandon Parfitt, who had 18 last week. He'll get some more midfield time. But as well as the midfield, he loves to kick a snag, and he had 2 shots on goal last week for 2 goals. They'll use him again this week. So those are my 4 legs. Parfitt to kick a goal, have 20, Stewart to have 20, and of course, Pez, my favourite bet, the over, 175. Big odds of $9.50, and I've chucked a cheeky 10 on that.
Yeah, cheeky 10, the rule there. It's over $5. You've hit that. I've gone this margin market again, Source, because I absolutely love it. The try bet 24.5, either team under 24, $1.72 they give you again. I liked Brisbane plus 8.5, but I do think Geelong could win by 2-3 goals, and then that wouldn't cover that, would it? So either team under 24.5, keep it close, keep it competitive. In two teams going in 0-1, let's hope that happens, and whack 30 on it.
$1.72, same odds.
Yeah, $1.72.
So is that the odds for all the time, is it?
Not all the time.
Oh, okay. Well, Pez, that bet's shit. And just like Brisbane, you'll be 0-2 coming into the Saturday night game. So let's get into the Saturday afternoon game. Let's get into this one. Sydney playing Adelaide. Sydney coming in as clear favourites, $1.32. The Crows, $3.41. Outsiders, 20.5 is the line, and the over is 174.5. Pez, I know you're going for the loser here, so let's go with your tip first.
Mentioned it on the full pod. Sydney last Sunday, -9.5, out to -20.5. Just not enough value in it for me for a team that I don't rate as a finals contender in the Swans. Adelaide at all as well. So the effort will be high in this one. It'll be an interesting watch on that Saturday afternoon there, but I've steered clear to this and no bet.
Yeah, if I'd read the terms and conditions for the tab, I would have steered clear to this game because when I didn't like the line in this game because it's a very, very high line at 20.5 for two teams, touted to be probably in the bottom 8 for most people. So I jumped on tab thinking that I could get the to win by 12 because I think it's about a 15-point line and double the winnings. So I put on a very, very, very compelling line. Bet of $1.35. 25 on Sydney to win. Pez, mistake on my behalf, but you know what? I'll take the chocolates in that one.
You got to hope you hope the favourites get there.
Jeez,
and
that'd
Adelaide
be
can't do it to you.
That'd be really disappointing.
We move on to Port Adelaide, Essendon, mate.
We do. We get over to Adelaide Oval, $1.15 favourites for the team that likes to finish on top, Port Adelaide and Essendon, after throwing away that huge lead. Drastic outsiders at $5.50. The line is 32.5, and this is continually moving. So if you like that, jump on it quick because I think it's going to push out even further before we get to Saturday. The over-unders are at 178.5.
Yeah, should probably finish 34.5, 35.5, something like that. But I'm not going to miss my opportunity on the power again this week against Essendon. Fantasia against his old side. Port Adelaide -32.5. Chuck the max 50 on that.
Yep, and it's a carbon copy. It's the first bet you'll get right this week, mate, because I've done the exact same. I love that bet, 32.5. I would have liked to get it a little bit earlier in the week, but I wanted to see who was going to get up for both teams. Not that I've been able to really do that, but -32.5, love that one, Pez. So that's nice for you to get the first win.
You mentioned that about the team Source, and one of our pet hates here is not naming the teams, at least on the Thursday when they used to, with the extended benches on the Sunday. It actually really stuffs us up when we have to, put our bets out
Write
early.
a letter.
I'm not writing no letter. I'm not doing that. But we're going to have to live with it because I think it's not going to change, and you're just going to have to, play it by ear and see what happens. And if there's a massive change and the line swings the other way, it's just bad luck in the end, isn't it?
It's really frustrating because I don't think it gives that teams that much advantage. Name 5 or 6 in the extended bench and let's be done with it. Just make a blanket. Hey, Wednesday night, that's when it is because that's the day before the first round. And if you've got the Sunday game, you know what? You just have to wear it that week. But anyway, speaking of things that they're going to wear as hats, St Kilda are going to make absolute mincemeat of Melbourne. And this line for me is surprisingly close for how poor Melbourne were last week, despite winning. $1.69 favourites for the Saints. Melbourne outsiders at $2.18. 7.5 is the line. 173.5 is the over-under.
Yeah, mate. I nearly jumped on the Saints at about $1.50, $1.58, I think it was, or $1.59 early in the week, because I thought that they would come in even more and be, start $1.40 favourites. But what did you say they were? $1.63 at the moment?
Yeah, $1.69's gone out too.
$1.69, so it's drifted out that much. I love the line of 7.5 here for the Saints at the minus, but it wasn't big enough for me, so I've gone pick your own line. Minus 11.5 to win by 2 goals or more gives me an even $2 and the max 50s on that one as well.
Okay, I'm steering clear of this one, but if I was to have a play of the bet, I'd probably go the under for how disappointing Melbourne were last week. I don't think that St Kilda can score 140 on their own because Melbourne, they didn't look threatening when they went in there. I think St Kilda's defence is a bit better, so I'd be going the under. I think that line is really, really high at 173.5.
Be careful on the over-under Source. You know that from round one.
Did I not steer clear? I'm just saying that if,
clear?
as I'm looking at my analytical hat on, Pez, that's where I would go. Speaking of analytics, you don't need analytics to know that North Melbourne are not very good, and the bookies are sticking with that trend. 347 outsiders against the Gold Coast Suns. The line is 20.5, favouring the Gold Coast Suns, and a smaller line, over-under of 163.5, probably the smallest one of the round so far. Bez, what are you doing here?
Yeah, what I'm doing here is I'm going a little bit different because the Suns, even though they're a much better side than North, the minus 20.5, they might just rest up in the last quarter, let North, kick a couple of goals. So I've gone the halftime line. When the game's on the line early, halftime line. So at halftime, Gold Coast minus 9.5, lead by 10 or more at halftime, and that's what I want. And you get $1.89 at that, and I enjoy that. Put 20 on it.
Like that one. You're going to love this bet, Pez. I originally had this as a steer clear, but after looking, actually while we were waiting for the first show to upload, I had a little bit of a sneaky peek and I found some value in the goal-kicking markets on tab. As we said, you can get some really good odds out there in the way that they've laid it out.
Not on Sportsbet.
Not on Sportsbet for this week, but if they do want to offer some sponsorship, make sure that we can find a way to bet with
and then
you guys.
I'll love it. No.
All right, I've gone with your man, Ben King. Last week he kicked 3-1, I think, against North Melbourne's depleted defence with Robbie Tarrant out. I think he can get 4. Get great odds of $4 for him to get 4 goals. He looked like an absolute superstar last week in West Coast. I think he can get that done. I've whacked 15 on that for a nice return of 60, which I don't mind.
Oh, you'll take that. And then we head into the dreaded Sunday games.
Oh, the Sunday games. All right, so I'll just do Pez's lines here. Steer clear, steer clear, steer clear. Will that be right, Pez?
Oh, incorrect.
Oh, okay. So, that's right. You got a cheeky in there somewhere. All right, let's get into the Hawthorn-Richmond. $4.60 outsiders. A very respected sort of margin there. Everyone expected that to be them for $4.60. Richmond $1.20. 28.5 is the line. Really big line. 174.5 is the over-under.
Mate, I've got a no bet here, a steer clear, but if you had to pull my leg and I had to pull the trigger on something, I'd probably go Richmond 40+. The line's at 28.5 already, and you get a little bit more value at the 40+. You get $2.50 for that. So thinking that Hawthorn can be down by 40 points against an Essendon side, Richmond, if they decide that they want to do that, they will win by 40+. If they decide they just want to, cruise and win by 4 goals, 5 goals, they'll do that. So that's why I'm going to stay away from that game this week unless the line changes or I see the teams and something really catches my eye.
Yeah, that's a good little bet, Pez, and that you expect that line to probably drift out a little bit more too once the sides are announced and people actually realise who's not playing for Hawthorn. All right, let's get into the next game. The Western Bulldogs versus the West Coast Eagles. $1.53 favourites for the Doggies. $2.51 outsiders are the West Coast Eagles. 11.5 is the line. 174.5 is the over-under.
Cheeky.
Now, 11.5, not big enough for me. I'm not going the Bulldogs, though. I've gone to pick your own line on the other side. The West Coast Eagles, get around them at Marvel, minus 20.5 at $5 to get in for that cheeky. I've had to go all the way up to that minus 20.5. So there we go. $10 cheeky, West Coast have to win by 21 or more.
I don't like that bet.
I know that from the previous show.
Yeah, I'm steering clear with this one. But if I was to have a bet, I'd be looking at the disposal markets. I think there are a lot of doggies that you could probably multi up at the 20 and 25 plus to get a bit of the pill. What I would go with, and what I might have a double with once I see the sides, is Bailey Smith to get 30 plus. He did it last week. He definitely got the 3 votes last week. That's $1.95 for him to get 30. With that mullet, I think he's going to get the attention of the umpires. So just as a secondary bet, Pez, I haven't put it on. But if you want a really sneaky outsider for the Brownlow, don't worry about Bond. Jump on Bailey Smith. He's currently at $41. I got him Friday night halfway through that game at $51. He is looking like a firm in there. And if they've got a cash-out market, which they generally don't, but some bookies do offer it in the Brownlow, you can make a nice little price up in that sort of way.
Especially if he gets, a couple of 3-vote games really early on, that price will plummet down into the 20s. There we go, Sauce. We come to the final game of the round, and it's a deep breath like that. We got a good one to finish over at SBS.
Yeah, SBS Stadium. We got the Fremantle Dockers playing the GWS Giants. The odds for this one, Pez, have switched around a little bit since the start of the week. Fremantle now firming as favourites at $1.84, despite that injured list, and the GWS Giants starting outsiders $2. The line is minus 1.5, almost a pick 'em. And earlier I said that the smallest line for this round was 163, but in fact it is this game here. The over-under is 161.5 for that defensive-minded Fremantle, and that poorly entrance into the forward line at GWS. They didn't come off the flow of the tongue right, Pez, but either does GWS's offense at the moment.
Well, it doesn't, and I've got no bet in this one, but looking into the teams, and if I can get GWS for around $2, I'd be taking them. It's early on. The bookies are just going, all right, Fremantle are at home. I don't know if they've taken into consideration the players that they're actually missing. I don't think Nathan Fyfe, he can win a game off his back, but the Giants, I just was a little bit impressed with them last week. The match winner in this game, either Nat Fyfe or Toby Green. And I think Toby Green can get it done. If it's dry over there, he can take a couple of really good grabs and kick more than just the one goal this week. And I would be betting on the Giants head-to-head.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm doing, Pez. And I'm a little bit spewing that the odds have changed because when I jumped on them at the line at plus 1.5, it was $1.90. But GWS were to win like $1.95. So I'm like, well, why wouldn't I for 5 cents put a little bit of insurance? But if you can get them at $2, I would definitely do that. I've put the maximum on that, Pez. So two maximums for this game, and I think that is money for VBs. What do you got for your multis, Pez?
Maximum coming from you, 2 in a round. That's rare territory. Source confidence.
Must be good tips.
All right, the multis. Now, I don't know if you'll like what I've done with this, but I've actually included some of my bets from the round, and you don't seem to like them that much. But the first one I've gone is Sam Walsh to get 20 or more disposal. It's only playing at $1.08 by itself, but I've just put it in there to boost it a little bit. Geelong versus Brisbane, I really like that one the most. Either team by 24 or less. I'll put the Port Adelaide line in there, minus 32.5. I'll put the St Kilda pick your own line at minus 11.5, and I'll put the Gold Coast halftime line that I spoke about at minus 9.5. Altogether, that gets me $13.34. So the $10 on that multi to hopefully return $133.
Yep, I've gone 3-leg multi with Sportsbet because there is no specials floating around. Someone needs to put some specials out because that's where we like to see some of those multis. We talked about it last week. Not a big fan of multis as it is. Would love some insurance, but not to be. I've gone with Carlton head-to-head, Gold Coast minus 20.5, GWS head-to-head, and actually during this betting here, I got them at $2.04. I've power played that, which is $7.99 for overall odds. Put the 10 on that, going to win a nice just under $80, mate.
So just so I'm clear, those are probably the 3 ones that you're most confident with, and you've just stuck them in the multi together?
Yep.
Yeah, excellent. You really like Carlton tomorrow, don't you?
I do really like Carlton tomorrow. I think they're a shot, mate.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I can't wait for the footy tomorrow, Source, and Behind the Boundary comes out. So make sure you follow along at Behind the Bound on Twitter because we put our bet slips out there. We also put the specials out there for you to follow along and have a look at. I've been Pez. Peace out.
I'm still Source. We'll catch up next time, guys.